Guys, how are you?
Hey,
Really good.
good.
How
How
are
are you?
you?
Not bad. I wanted to start off and ask both of you. I mean, with a film like this, where it kind of cracks into the action pretty quickly, and you know, being that the story what it is, I'm wondering. I mean, what, if anything, did you do to kind of get yourself out of the headspace when the cameras were off? Because I can imagine walking around with that in your head is and having to make that decision must have been horrible. So I'm just wondering, like, what did you do to get yourself out of that brain space, or was it not that hard at all?
No, it was really intense, and I think without even we never really discussed it, but Knights had seemed to assemble a group of actors who really all got on, and there was a natural chemistry between all of us. There was also real support of each other on that set. The material was so full on, and it was we were never self-serious or pretentious about it, I don't think, but we all just knew that we were having to go to quite extreme places and were quite exposed as actors as well. So thankfully, we just had a real laugh. We had a fun time, like out of the walls of those out of the walls of that cabin. Sorry,
You
lost
got
there.
it. You got
We
it.
had got it, yes. We would be on our set chairs. We would be at Crafty together. Abby who plays
Yeah, the
Adrian.
kid. Yeah.
She's an extremely no. The Abby who plays Adrian actually is an extremely
Oh,
entertaining
sorry.
person. She does a bit of Irish dancing. She's got some impressive yoga skills. Kristen also is so much fun, and she would call herself, as she calls me, a sass queen. So she has a great sense of humor and just kept us all really buoyant, I think. And yeah, we all thankfully really there was that the film existed in these two worlds, the cabin and then the kind of offset life as well. Thank God, because it was very intense.
Yeah, Christ, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Interestingly, actually, on that, I mean, when you're kind of in downtime, like either at the crafty or if you're just kind of like floating around, I guess, did either of you ever kind of discuss what we would actually do in that scenario? You must have discussed it.
We didn't.
We discussed a lot that scene, the anticipation of the final scene, and what it was going to feel like. Knight had a very specific way of how he was going to shoot it, but we never really talked about
The choice.
the choice as
Was
our
that intentional?
No, I mean, Knight never discussed the. He never discussed like the takeaway of the film with us necessarily, or even the themes. That's not kind of his process. I think he would now, but in the rehearsal process, he doesn't really do that. And then I think that we didn't really. We have now at dinner. Abby, Nikki, Jonathan, and myself went for dinner on Saturday night, and we discussed it there for the first time.
Yeah.
I think like we hadn't. I think for me, more than anything, it was just like it wasn't concerned about making the choice. I was like concerned about shooting the film, about shooting that scene. So
Yeah.
yeah.
If you mind me asking, what was the outcome of that, like that discussion at dinner? Like, was there anything you kind of reflect that, after making the film that you thought about it and gone through it? Anything that you kind of occurred to you for either of you?
Ben?
Ooh.
Uh,
Or I'll answer too. I don't remember where I landed on at dinner, but I do feel like Knight rewrote the final scene of the movie. We reshot
Yeah,
it.
I read the book. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but even he wrote it for the script, and then we shot it, and then months later we came back and reshot it,
Oh,
with more of an energy, less of an energy about Eric believing in that this was the apocalypse and we had to save the world, and more about we have to do this for our daughter. So I think Knight was in the end moved less by we have to save the world as a general thing and more as like we have to give the next generation the benefit of the doubt that they're going to make the world better
right.
and make this choice for them. So when I think about that choice, I would have to really believe that the apocalypse was happening. And I don't know if the evidence delivered by the Four Horsemen would have gotten me there, but maybe it would have. And if I really believed that that was going to happen, I'd like to think I would make the sacrifice, but it's in some way, whether shoot or be shot. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Yeah. How very briefly, Ben? How about you? I mean, what do you make of that? Or
Yeah, similar to Jonathan, I think it would be really hard to convince me that was happening. And I think for Andrew, the thing that does convince him is the plane. Is the plane that's careering in the sky, and that's kind of tips him over the edge. He's already doubting before that, but yeah, I don't know. I find it quite hard to. But I think I would think it was the homophobic attack that Andrew does right the way through. And then, yeah, I'd like to think I would find it really hard. I'd probably want to die at the same time as my partner, I think, in that moment. I think I would probably, if I didn't have the child, I would probably then turn it on myself, I imagine. It's so dark to think of. But I don't know. I also, this is going to sound super cynical, but even though I have hope for the future of the world, I don't know, maybe a reset wouldn't be sounds awful to say, but maybe a reset
wouldn't be such a bad thing. No, yeah.
Maybe a reset wouldn't be a bad thing. I don't know, that sounds so extreme. I don't know, I love life a bit too much to say that as well, but you know, it's a philosophical debate, I suppose.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, on that note, I gotta leave it there. So, thanks so much. I'm sorry for ending that on a total fucking downer. It's very, very sorry about that.
It's all right. It's my fault.
Oh, that's my fault. I shouldn't have asked.
No,
Okay.
no,
That's great.
it's a great question.
Yeah.
If you fail to choose, the world will end.